we're the same. And we have the same love. 100%. Like, I'd never fallen out of love with you. I had just put it over here.
Jennifer Lopez finally files for divorce from Ben Affleck, something we all saw coming for a long time, but in the end, a lot of major twists to this story.
Like, it's not nobody noticing that everybody else that's left her, oh, she was too this, she was this, she was that. But Diddy said she was perfect. Diddy's the only one that said she was a great girlfriend and how he wish he hadn't messed it up. How is that the only man in her life that had regrets about their relationship, but everybody else ran for the...
Many fans were thrilled to see Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, also known as Bennifer, finally tie the knot after rekindling their romance in 2021, nearly 2 decades after their initial engagement. However, just as quickly as their romance seemed to have reignited, the flames seemed to have fizzled out, leaving everyone wondering what went wrong. This is one of the most iconic Hollywood love stories. According to recent reports, the pair has been dealing with problems in their relationship that neither of them can ignore.
I work harder and harder and harder and harder. And when everybody's sleeping, I'm doing more.
Like this.
Jennifer Lopez has been blamed for the breakdown of her 4th marriage to Oscar winner Ben Affleck. But a new report now suggests that the Batman A-lister was the one who actually threw in the towel. Many were shocked when the couple spun the block after they were unable to make it down the aisle while dating in the early 2000s. They got back together in 2021 and married in 2022. But now they are headed for divorce court. A purported tipster reportedly told In Touch Weekly that Lopez will never forgive her ex for abandoning their relationship and not trying to work it out this time around. Despite efforts to keep things civil for the sake of their children, she also reportedly feels let down by how Affleck's stance since she filed for divorce on Aug. 20, the guy.
It appears that the reasons for their breakup are considerably more complicated than anyone could have imagined. Ben Affleck has apparently opened up about the reasons behind his decision to call it quits, and the answers might surprise you. Personal conflicts and professional disagreements are among the causes.
The unnamed source gave more details about the family outing to the Beverly Hills Hotel and what really happened. The person suggested that the Love Don't Cost a Thing singer was trying to be civil for the children. Affleck's children with Jennifer Garner Finn, 15 years old, and Samuel, 12 years old, and Lopez's twins, Max and Emmy, 16, with singer Mark Anthony, during their Septi 14 brunch. They were all spotted at the Beverly Hills Hotel, where Lopez and Affleck were seen holding hands and exchanging kisses. But her husband continued to have a somber and sour disposition. Jennifer would never make a scene in public, especially in front of their kids, but she has so much resentment, In Touch reported its anonymous mouthpiece said. She's made it plain she'll never forgive Ben for being such a cold-hearted jerk and giving up on the marriage in such a savage manner. Affleck's public and private acts in recent months haven't helped ease the situation by not taking responsibility for his part in the demise of their marriage. Over the summer, the Air actor moved out of their over $60 million estate into a $100 $000 a month rental. And by July, he had purchased a $20 million home.
Jennifer Lopez's infatuation with making their romance a public spectacle seems to have been a major contributing factor in their relationship's dissolution.
And Ben Affleck are revealing the real reason behind their 2003 breakup. Jen and Ben, who broke off their engagement in 2003 before rekindling their romance nearly 2 decades later, are finally sharing insight into why they called off their first wedding. J.Lo shares details in her new documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told, now streaming on Amazon Prime Video, saying, quote, "Ben and I, we broke up 3 days before our wedding. We had a big wedding planned, 14 ushers and bridesmaids, and 3 days before, we just crumbled under the pressure." Ben echoes the statement, saying that the real reason behind their split was, quote, "the massive amount of scrutiny around our private life." However, the couple goes on to agree that calling off their first wedding led them each on a self-discovery journey, and eventually back together again when they reconnected in 20.
Ben Affleck is significantly more private, But insiders close to the couple have stated that Ben grew increasingly uneasy with how much of their personal lives was being exploited for J-Lo's latest multimedia endeavors. J-Lo is no stranger to the spotlight her career has been built on it.
I mean, I feel like along the way I was it's like stutter stepping the whole way, knowing that I wanted to go forward, knowing that I had this tremendous impulse and kind of like drive to say something like I had not wanted to say in my whole life. In being an artist and even in growing up, like I've never wanted to kind of share something in that way, the way I did when I got back together with Ben and we started making this album. And I have some of my team here who made the album with us. But it was just very clear to me that I had to, one, make this music because it was just kind of very organically pouring out of me what I wanted to say about love and what I had discovered and what I wanted to share. And then in that kind of revisiting the 20 years in between was inevitable. And so as that started happening, you start realizing there's so much more to the story to tell than just the music and just the movie. There's even more than that, right? And it became kind of a quest of like, I have to do this.
Recently, Jennifer released her album This Is Me Now and launched a big self-financed campaign worth $20 million, which included a documentary titled The Greatest Love Story Ever Told, which described their renewed romance.
It was a big deal, I think, for Ben. He was watching me make the music and was, kind of stunned, like, oh my God, you're in there making music every day. You wrote that song today and that song today. And I was like, yeah, we did. We did this. We're making this music. I'm very inspired right now. I don't think he ever thought again it would lead to the Amazon original and all of this kind of like film and doc and all that kind of stuff. But he embraced it as well and saw it happening. And again, kind of from a natural and organic way said, I'm going to support you. You're an artist. I see what's happening. I know what it feels like to have that impulse because he's such a great writer and director and actor and, producer.
Bobby, this isn't about me and you. Bobby, take that out.
No, this is what...
That is not part of the script.
These are really great. From the 70s, they're light handheld lenses.
I don't care.
I know. Hey, it's
right now, it just sucks.
No, it doesn't suck. That's wrong.
It does.
That's wrong. That's just inexperience. That you haven't done this process before.
I'm sorry that I'm not a award-winning director.
Well,
I'm sorry.
If I was doing a musical concert,
all the things when I was 21
if I was doing a rock show, I would say to you, tell me how this goes. Are you usually afraid of before your first performance?
And so he felt what was happening. And, when somebody loves you in that way, they just want you to fly. And I think that's what he really...
Fans were excited to see Ben's love story up close, but Ben wasn't exactly happy that the documentary's title, which is based on a scrapbook he gave J-Lo in 2021 that contained 20 years worth of their letters and emails, would be made public. Insiders claimed that Ben was shocked when J-Lo shared the scrapbook with her producers and collaborators without first getting his consent, treating it like a Bible, and leaving it out in the studio for everyone to see. Ben expressed his unease in the first few minutes of the film, but it was too late. The damage had already been done.
Thursday, I showed everybody this book. This book is a book that Ben gave me on our first Christmas back together. It is every letter and every email that we wrote to each other from 20 years ago and today. It became like our Bible, and we just left it there in the studio, and people would thumb through it. They're like, can we look at it? I was like, look at it.
First off, who does that? This guy gets boyfriend of the year as far as I'm concerned.
And get this, Ben got a nickname in the studio because of his sweet gift.
It's like, you've been showing all the musicians all those letters that, and they were like, yeah, we call you Pen Affleck. And I was like, oh my God.
This project was something I didn't really plan. It was really inspiration, like being inspired to make music for the first time like that in 20 years. So you can imagine what the inciting...
Even though their sexual relationship ended years ago, it's rumored that J-Lo and Sha Diddy Combs are still close, which has made things uncomfortable. This is one of the key reasons for their breakup.
J-Lo and the artist formerly known as Puffy were so hot and heavy, but I don't think this is why Jennifer Lopez is acting a little wonky. I think she's just out of touch. So let's set the scene and walk down memory lane. 1997, Biggie was unalived, and we all knew who Puff Daddy was. Later that same year, Puffy's solo album comes out, and the song Can't Nobody Hold Me Down with Mace is at the top of the chart. Around this time, he's with Kim Porter. The same year, 1997, J-Lo does Selena, and it is a breakout role for her. Yeah, she did Money Train, and I think she did Anaconda later, but this was her big break. She also divorces her first husband, Ohani Noah. 1999, Puff Daddy is at his peak. J-Lo releases her first album on the 6th, and then they debut as a couple. They're both from New York. She's from the Bronx. He's from Harlem. People can't get enough of them. They are quite literally the it couple. They're doing red carpets together. They're at fashion shows. They're throwing parties.
There seems to be more to the shocking breakup of Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez than meets the eye. According to Suge Knight, FBI evidence including a sex tape of J-Lo with Sha Diddy Combs may have set off the couple's probable divorce,